Welcome back to Math with Mrs. Day. I hope that all of these videos are helping and you're getting all of your work done. If you're not, don't forget that you can email me through your Gmail. Just start typing my name in when you hit compose and it will pop me right up with my picture and you'll be able to send it straight to me. Also, I will post every day in Google Classroom a link to an online meeting. You can join me from 1 to 2:30. If that time doesn't work, please email me so we can figure something else out. Today we're going to continue using those basic friendly number facts to approximate our quotients. And remember, approximate just means around about how much it's going to equal. We're going to start off today by reviewing from yesterday. We're going to start with this word problem. Devon bought 38 video games for $874. Give an estimate of the cost of each game. So let's talk about this phrase right here. Give an estimate of the cost of each game. That is basically just saying about how much did each game cost. They probably didn't all cost the same amount of money, but we're going to say about how much did he spend. So we're going to take our whole, which is 874, also known as our dividend, and we're going to divide it by how many video games he purchased. That's going to be our units. He purchased 38 video games. So to approximate this, we're going to go ahead and ask, what is our divisor close to? Because we want to make a friendly unit. 38 is close to 40. Once we have 40, we're going to start thinking about those multiples of 4, those multiples of 40. And I know right off the bat that 88 is a multiple of 40. So I can see that I'm going to round 880 out of 874. This is an approximation again. Yes, it's a little more than he spent, but it's also a little more video games than he bought. So we're just looking for an approximate amount of money. The first thing I see is that I can go ahead and do 10 divided by 10 and get rid of those zeros. Now all I'm left with is 88 divided by 4. I know 8 divided by 4 is 2, and 8 divided by 4 is 2. So this lets me know that he spent about $22 on each game. Not bad. Today we're going to do the same thing. We are just looking at slightly larger dividends. So those whole numbers are getting a little bigger. Don't let that scare you though, because we're going to use those friendly facts to help work through this. We're going to start with 23. And we know that 23, we're going to go ahead and put that in at 20. If I'm looking for 20, I want to go ahead and ask myself, how close can I get? I'm honestly going to kind of ignore these numbers back here in the back, and I'm only going to look at the first few numbers. And I know that 2 is a factor of 8. So 8 is a multiple of 2. That also lets me know that I can just leave this at 8,000. Since I didn't have anything in my hundreds, that's a pretty good estimation there. Had this been 8,900, that probably would not have been the best estimation. But since it's right there at 80, I'm going to leave it at 80 hundredths or 8,000. Now I'm ready to divide. I'm going to ask myself on my divisor. I have tens, so I can cancel out one of these zeros, but I cannot get rid of all of them because I only divided by 10. I didn't divide by 1,000. So now I'm going to focus in and ask, what is 800 divided by 2? You may know that, or you may need to think about, what is 8 divided by 2? Well, 8 divided by 2 is 4. And don't forget that we still have these other place values. So our answer here is going to be in the ballpark of 4. All right, let's try another one. 2,691 divided by 48. Look at your divisor first. We want to start with our divisor and take it to the nearest 10. The nearest 10 for 48 is going to be, that's right, 50. Now I'm going to ask myself about those multiples of 50, which are also multiples of 5. And I like to look at the very first two numbers to help me figure that out. A multiple of 5 that is close to 26. Well, I instantly know 25 is a multiple of 5. That's really close to 26. Then I'm going to turn those other spots just into zeros. So I'm going to use 2,500 and divide that by 50. Just like we've been talking about in all of our previous videos. I know that 50 is really 5 times 10, so I could divide 10 and 10 here and get rid of a 0. Now I'm left with 250 divided by 5. 25 divided by 5, that equals 5. And I have another 0. So I know that my estimation, my approximation for this is going to be 50. My answer should be in the ballpark of 50. So if I'm getting a number like 500 for my answer, that instantly will tell me I have made a mistake. You pause your video and try this one on your own. All right, let's see if we got the same thing. Hopefully when we looked at 71, our divisor, we started thinking about what's the closest unit of tens that we can use. And we see that obviously 71 is really close to 70. Then I'm going to start thinking to myself, I know you like my thought bubbles, what are my multiples of 70 and how is that going to get me close to 54? Remember, I like to underline those first two because I know I'm going to turn the rest of those into zeros. So, again, I'm not saying what is 54 closest to. We know that's 50, but 50 is not a multiple of 7. So that is not helpful for us in approximating our answer. So I'm going to list my 7s. I've got 7, 14, 21, 28, 35, 42, 49, and 56. 56 is really close to 54. So I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm going to change that to 56 and change those guys into zeros because 5,400 is close to 5,600. Now I'm going to start dividing. Remember, to get rid of zeros, we can do a 10 divided by a 10 for each 0 that we have. That leaves us with 560 divided by 7. 56 divided by 7, well, that was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. That was 8, and we still had a 0. This lets me know that my answer is going to be in the ballpark of 80. All right, one last problem. Pause me and try it on your own. All right, this one's a little tricky. I threw a 95 in there. You guys know I can't go a whole lesson without using a 5. If we were estimating or just rounding, when we round, our laws of rounding that we've come to know and understand are that when you get the 5, you go ahead and round up. However, since we're just making an approximation to divide, we don't necessarily have to follow those laws. You can or you cannot. It's totally up to you. So I know that for this one, there's actually a couple different ways I could do this. I'm going to go ahead and split my board in two to show you those. I could say, yes, 95, I'm going to round that up to 100. And I know that counting by 100, no matter what I put at the back, as long as it's got a bunch of zeros, it's going to be a multiple of 100. So I'm going to change this to be 9,000. Now on here, since I have 2 zeros, I'm going to divide these by 100 to get rid of 2 of those. Or divide by 10 and divide by 10 again. Now what I have left is 90 divided by 1, which tells me my answer is in the ballpark of 90. Now, hold up just a minute, because you know Miss Day likes to do things multiple ways when there is the opportunity to do so. So let's move to the other side of our video. And what if instead you had rounded it down to 90? And then you started thinking, well, what are my multiples of 9? And you know that 9,000 or 9 is a multiple. We can mark those guys out and ask ourselves, what is 900 divided by 9? Well, 9 divided by 9 is going to be 1, and that's going to leave us with 2 hundreds. Now, is it okay that we didn't get the same answer for both of these? Of course it is, because we are making an approximation. It's kind of like guessing how many pieces of bubble gum are in the jar. My answer may not be the same as yours, but hopefully we're using an educated guess to figure it out. Most likely, if I were to divide this problem, it would give me an answer between 90 and 100. So this just helped me narrow it down a little further to what ballpark my answer will be in. I hope this was helpful for you. Remember to go ahead and do your Lesson 18 problem set. You can do this on the computer or in the work packet that was sent home with you. When you finish that, hop on over to Zearn and complete your lesson. Remember, once you complete Mission 2, Lesson 19 in Zearn, you're done with Zearn until we come back from Thanksgiving. I will see you guys again tomorrow. I miss you, and I love you. Bye.